What's up my loves, my name is Paige, this is Pages with Paige, and today we're going to be doing my May wrap up. So, that was a month. For the month of May, I read 10 books, and the main reason was my grandpa ended up in ICU and I could not focus on anything. I started diamond dotting and I really enjoyed it, but I didn't have the bandwidth to be able to diamond dot and to audiobook at the same time. So let's dive into the statistics and we'll talk through all the books that I've read. So like I said, I read 10 books and that equated to 2004 pages. On average, pages per day was 64. I'm in awe at how low it was. And with my average pages per book being 200, you're gonna see, yes, it's a small number of pages, but also the books themselves, choices. My average rating was a 4.65 because I did not pick up anything that I didn't want to. I really enjoyed everything that I read. In terms of genres, I read 3 contemporary, 4 fantasy, 1 non-fiction, and 2 sci-fi. For formats, I read 4 ebooks, 3 physical books, and 3 physical audiobook combinations, which just blows my mind. In terms of age range, I read 3 adult, 3 YA, and 4 middle grade. For ratings, I gave 6 books 5-star, 1 book 4.5, and 3 books 4-star. For standalones, I read 5. For series that I started 1, and for series continuations, I continued on. I used 4 books to continue on with 3 different series. My biggest book was Save the Date, which was 417 pages, and my smallest book was Saga issue 59, and that was 31 pages. My listening hours was 8.8 hours. Like, I didn't even crack 10. My smallest hours per month at the moment has been 31, and it was 8. 8! Oh my god. I'm in an audiobook slump, but that's okay. For publication, I read 5 things that were published between 2016 and 2020, and I read 5 things that were published in 2022, so picking up those newer things as well. Let's dive into the books themselves. For the beginning of the month, there was Amy's Game of Bookish Life readathon going for 48 hours, and for one of the prompts, it needed to have flowers on the cover and be a middle grade, I believe. So I read The Tower at the End of Time by Amy Sparks. I read this from midnight to 2 AM on the first day. And I gave this 5 stars. This is a continuation to the House at the Edge of Magic series, and I am adoring these characters. I find it a lot of fun. It's very whimsical and just a perfect little pick-me-up. This is got a game aspect to it, and the main premise is hopscotch, and it's just so much fun, so light, and I just really am enjoying spending time with these characters. Then I read Dewdrop by Kay O'Neill, and this was an adorable picture book that I gave 5 stars. It was so wholesome and cute, and I can't deal with Kay O'Neill's illustrations. They are the author of the Tea Dragon Society, and just their artwork is amazing. It had such beautiful messages, and I loved it so much. I was so happy to be able to pick this up for Amy's readathon. And then I was also in a little bit of a slump because my parents were up for my graduation, which happened on the 2nd, the Monday, so I don't read a lot when they're around, and then mum ended up staying for a little bit longer, which was fine, but when she left, I picked up Saga issue 58 and gave this 5 stars. I just really enjoy Saga. I'm invested in these characters. I want to see how the story progresses and the plot points that Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples are going to go down. It's so interesting. It's gory, nudity bound, it's very adult, but I just had so much fun with each issue as they come out. Then everything went to shit. And so the next book I picked up was The Girl in the Glim by India Swift, and I picked this up for Becca's Bookathon, which was the weekend of the 21st of May. So I did not read a single thing between the 6th and the 21st. Aside, I didn't finish anything then. I also barely read the absolute minimum. Maybe I'd be lucky to read like 5 to 10 pages a day. So The Girl in the Glim, I gave 4.5 stars. This was an arc that I received through NetGalley, and holy fuck, it's so cute. I love the illustrations. I love like the little glim that can just impact on electricals, and it's just really cute. So I'm really excited to see where the next issue goes and just to continue on with their story. A girl has recently moved to a new town, town and is seen as the new girl, and it's just really wholesome and has a lot of good messages. The bully in it, I was so mad at them the entire time. I found it was really light and exactly what I needed to be able to help continue on with the reading mojo, which had disappeared for a long ass while. Then for Bookopoly-thon, I picked up Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell and Faith Erin Hicks, and I gave this 4 stars. So I really enjoyed it, but there were just elements of it that when I finished it, I was like, oh, that was how we chose to do this? Okay. I loved the full setting. It is so beautiful. I love the art illustrations and just the hilarious nature of the characters. I really enjoyed them going through like a scavenger hunt through the final day of this fair to be able to find this chick, and it's just a lot of fun. If it hadn't gone the way that it had right at the end, I think I would have given this 5 stars, but because of just the way that the ending shaped up, I don't mind how the ending ended, but there was like a little step beforehand that I was like, oh, okay. 4 stars, but had a lot of fun reading it, and it was quick and easy and hilarious. Then I didn't realize this was coming out, but it is here, and Ash picked it up instantly for me, and that is Lightfall Shadow of the Bird, so book 2 in the Lightfall series by Tim Probert, and holy shit, I love this series. I gave this 5 stars. I definitely needed Bea and Gal in my life right at this moment. I loved seeing Bea continuing to struggle with anxiety and self-doubt and depression, and how that infiltrates into your everyday life and how it impacts on the decisions that you want to make, and then seeing going above and beyond what you thought you were capable of. It's so beautiful, and I absolutely adore it. So I love this. I wish it was longer, because the first one is just like maybe 50 more pages longer, but I'm curious to see where it goes next. It has definitely set up the story. We have had the big shit go down, and so from here we are trying to fix that, and I am very excited to see how that shapes up. And then I read The Doctor by Dr. Karl Kruszelnicki. So this was one of my sister's picks, same at the tower at the end of time, for Professor Plum. And so I think this really fits so well with that prompt. My sister chose excellently, like it's purple themed all throughout, and Dr. Karl is a scientist and a very smart guy. I gave this 4 stars because whilst it was accessible for someone who doesn't know science, I feel like you still have to have a higher degree of knowledge of science than I do to be able to fully appreciate it. Like, I feel like Ash would enjoy this a lot more than I did. There were some essays, I don't know what you call the snippets, but there were some that chose an interesting topic to expand on and go for 10 pages rather than for 5, and I wasn't interested in those longer ones, and so it did feel like a slog to get through occasionally for those. But the quick and snappy ones, I wanted to see more of those. So yeah, it was a variety of different topics, and it's all hilarious. Like the dog tilt was only 3 pages, but I could have had like so much more information on why dogs respond in ways. And I know that it's just because the science isn't there to be able to provide anything more, but you know. My least favorite were the 2 about vomiting, so trigger warning if you are like me and cannot deal with that, because the second story is, yeah, yes. So taking that into account, that probably also impacted on my rating as well. But aside from that, it was fun, it was interesting. I liked how at the bottom of every section there was Dr. Karl questions, and so people put in questions, and then on the other page Dr. Karl answers it. So I thought that was really nice. I found that I did interrupt my flow of reading a lot though, because I would go down, read that section, and then go back up to whatever I was reading, and they weren't related. But I had fun with it and got a lot of tidbits. There was one about birthdays and age and feeling like progressively faster as you age. What makes years seem shorter? Each hour of your life is progressively smaller percentage of your total number of hours lived, so time seems faster. I just really like that. I was like, damn, yeah, that's right. Then after reading The Doctor, I read The Mighty Heart of Sunny St. James by Ashley Herring Blake, and I'll be surprised, I gave this 5 fucking stars. Ashley Herring Blake can do no wrong by me. I just adore everything that they put out into the world. I love the queerness and just the total acceptance of it. Sunny has gone through having a heart transplant and now wants to start their life now that they have this new heart, and it's a lot about finding yourself, your voice, family ties and what it means to be a family unit, acceptance in and of yourself, and how friends aren't always the best and dealing with the fallout of something that you thought was sacred and not having that anymore. Dealing with illness and the implications that that can have when you don't follow in the same route as everyone else, and just queer gorgeousness. And I love that it's so accessible for kids, because Sunny's questioning and experiences are what a lot of kids would have gone through. Not necessarily the heart transplant, although that does provide an interesting element, but the fallout of social friendships after revealing a crucial part of yourself and being made fun of. I loved it so much, and I highly recommend Ashley Herring Blake overall. Then I read Saga issue 59, which was May's edition, and gave this 5 stars, had a blast. We are continuing on. Shit went down. I'm very curious to see how we get into the dynamics that we continue on with. It's hard because they're only 30 pages, and because I'm reading them as issues rather than as the complete volumes of the 10 chapters, 10 issues that they release. So I'm like powering through it every month, and I'm like, no, I need more. So just, yeah, having fun with that. And then the last thing that I read in the month of May was Save the Date by Morgan Matson, and I gave this a 4 stars. This was hilarious. I laughed out loud so many times, and Ash was like, you okay? You actually like laughed? And I was like, yes. I found that Charlie was a very relatable character for myself, just having the rose tinted glasses on all the time, wanting to see that her family are these perfect things and that nothing could go wrong, that even though things are obviously going wrong and she needs to accept that, she remains resolutely optimistic. And whilst I'm slightly more cynical and jaded now, I definitely could relate to a lot of the things that she was saying about not wanting to sell her family home and to move on from there, because this is where they all grew up and having last moments together. Her sister's getting married, so it's shaking up those family dynamics and knowing that they're not all a singular unit anymore. The reason I gave it 4 stars was that there were so many outlandishly outrageous events that happened that I'm like, fucking hell. Obviously this wedding is not meant to go smoothly, and everything that could go wrong does go wrong, but there were just elements of some of those things that I'm like, that wasn't necessary. It didn't propel the plot in any way, it just added another thing, and so they felt kind of redundant. So that's why I gave it 4 stars, but I had so much fun with it, and I think it was a really great read, and light and fluffy, and just fit what I needed. I really enjoyed it, and it deals with a lot of interesting topics and discussions, especially in relation to family, which I really enjoyed. So this is my stack for May, not including of Dewdrop, 2 issues of Saga, and The Girl in the Blimp. Kept it small this month. Can't say the same about my haul, sadly. Let me know in the comments, how did your reading go in May? What was your most standout book that you've read? If you like this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!